Are you looking for some vegetarian or vegan recipes to replace some chicken meals? Maybe it's for Meatless Monday, or because you're trying to eat less meat, or because you're vegetarian or vegan for Meatless Mondays. Hey, what's clucking, peeps? I'm Georgiana, and this chicken here with us today is Gertie. Gertie Birdie. Move around, Gertie Birdie. Gertie Birdie's nickname is Chicken Pot Pie. Yes, isn't it? You got a pot pie little head of hair. So we're going to be making two recipes today that are a little creative and fun, and we actually have some bonus ones. This is going to stretch really far. It's going to be a chickenless chicken dinner. Okay, so for our first chickenless chicken recipe, featuring Gertie this week, for our chicken is going to be a chicken pot pie themed pocket. So I'm going to be using Morningstar's chicken strips. I've got this whole bag, and it's going to be for the two recipes that we're cooking. The next one has a bit of a surprise twist, a different type of vessel, I guess you could say, carrying the pot pie. We'll get to that one next, so stay tuned for that one. It's a fun little twist. And this one, I shop a lot on Walmart and do the pickup, and I got this Jiffy pie crust for $1. And I did not read the label. A lot of times I do that before I buy something new. I didn't read the label before buying it. But it does have lard and preservatives. So it is a convenient, fast thing. All you have to do is add water, and it's only $1. So for some, this might be an option if you're not so worried about it being vegetarian or vegan, right? So this is an option. I thought, nope, that's not really going to fit our plan today. I've said it before, I'm not a baker. So we will be making our pie crust, but not a typical one with butter. So we'll see how it turns out. I have some vegetable broth I've been using this week, so that'll be added as a bit of a base for our sauce, but I'm going to make this one not too saucy like a typical pot pie since it's going in a pocket. The vegetables I'm using for this recipe, I'm going to put a little corn in. These are all thawed. I've got frozen vegetables all thawed out. Green beans, peas and carrots, onion seasoning mix. I had a little bit left. It's about 1/4 cup. That'll be our seasoning base that we're going to start with. I'm going to be using some soy milk for the pie crust, and a touch of olive oil, and then some basic seasonings like pepper, garlic salt, and thyme. So we will start with this pie crust, and let's see how it turns out. I'm going to start with 2½ cups of flour, ½ teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and this we're going to add a tablespoon of non-dairy milk. I've got soy milk here. It's going to be anywhere from 6 to 8 tablespoons, so I'm going to start with 5, 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll add more because pie doughs you don't want to be too sticky, otherwise it won't work. 6. It's pretty dry, so I'm going to go up to 7. I'm probably going to get my hands in here in a minute because that's going to be the easiest way to tell. Okay, so for the filling, on medium heat, I've got a little bit of olive oil in there, probably almost 2 tablespoons, 1½ tablespoons. And I'm going to start browning up my seasoning mixture with the onions, peppers, and celery. Okay, the veggies don't have much color, but they have softened up, which is really for sure what I want. Now I'm going to add a little bit of flour to make a roux before we add our vegetable broth. We want to cook this down for a minute. Add a little bit. I'm going to guess about a 1/4 cup of broth to start with. Like I said, we want this to be thick since it's going to be in a pocket. Add my seasonings. Now I've got some thyme. Pepper. And some garlic salt. You could break that up however you like. I just like the garlic salt all mixed together. The salt really absorbs that garlic flavor. There we go. That's looking good, nice and thick. Now we're going to add our vegetables. Add everybody else in. We can always add more liquid if we need. Green beans. This is about 1/2 cup of each veggie. So maybe a little less on the corn. So it's going to make a great lunch with lots of veggies in it. Nice little veggie pockets. And while the onions were cooking some, the seasoning blend, I took the chicken strips, the Morningstar chicken strips, and chopped them up into bite-sized pieces. Looks like we will need a little more broth here in just a minute. But I want to get everybody incorporated together. Yeah, I'm going to add just a touch more. Okay, I'm happy with how this has turned out. We've got it, it's nice and thick. Everybody's all warmed and cooked up, but I'm gonna put this in a bowl and put it in the fridge to cool. I'll pull out the pastry that I have in there. Fridge in just a minute here because we want this to be cold. So I'm not gonna roll out the pastry yet. Spoiler alert, we'll get to that in a minute too. I did not like the way that pie dough was coming together. I thought I was still recording, but I think I must hit the button when I checked the camera. It's gonna be, we're still just trial and error. I added 1 egg, and so for a vegan, I think you could probably use an egg substitute, but this will still be vegetarian. I added an egg and about a 1/4 cup more flour, and I got more of a dough consistency that I like. So, all right, here we go. So here's the dough I've got. Let's hope this works. I floured my surface. Flour on top. I hope this works. Want to get it rolled out to about a 1/4 inch thick. Hopefully. It's probably a bit more like a pasta dough now. Oops. Be rustic. I love my pizza cutter. I got this in Orvieto, Italy. Love this guy. Hand painted. That was such a fun trip. I love travel, so I might flash some video or pictures of that trip. See, I might roll these out a little individually. Along the topic of travel, since I'm kind of obsessed with it. I love geography, the world, learning all sorts of stuff, people everywhere. As our channel grows, I really want to I love cooking. It's all about hobby farm, trying to get to, if you want your own home, a little homestead, it doesn't need to be a lot. It doesn't need to be super fancy. But also for the kids. That's why I do have children's stories I write about my animals. So if you can teach your kids to plug into a calm story, I've got the read aloud books. There's a playlist on my channel. I'll post a link to that. And you can also loop videos. Most of my stories are a little more calming, and the children really might enjoy seeing some of the chickens with it. But I want to do stuff for elementary age kids. I have one story up there already, Traveling Chicken Tales with Wheezy. She's the boss lady of the yard. Trying to make it fun, a travel-based way for kids to learn about the world. There's so many exciting places, cool people, food, things, geography and geology. It kind of leads into a lot of stuff to learn, so it's kind of quite fun. So anyways, yeah, I want to get to where we have like a kids club also, which can really help you parents out if you're a homeschooler, a teacher. Get along. So I'm trying to pinch the edges so these don't leak out. And I'm going to put a cut in the top too when I'm done, so that it has a vent. You'll see in a minute here, I've got a piece of parchment paper over there. Parchment lined cookie sheet. To put these on, I want to reshape this guy a little bit so it's not so pointy on the end. That would probably do the trick. Well, let me see. Let me just take it like this. Let me do a big pocket. Oops. Got some edge on there. You can see this. I'm trying to roll out this guy to put on top so I don't have leftover dough. These two pieces were a bit thinner. Some of the rest. Play around with it. And this would be fun for kids to play around with. They usually love dough. You know, playing with the dough. Maybe let them decide what kind of filling they want to put in. What are their favorite vegetables? A lot of times kids are more a little vested in vegetables and things like that when they're making it themselves. And even if they make it, then they don't necessarily like it once they start eating it. I'm a firm believer in no pressure. Remind kids, well, try it again as you get a little older. You might like it when you're a little older or something like that. So this one's a little heavy on the dough on the side, but it's going to be kind of cute. Almost looks like a flower. Okay. Do a smiley face. Cute. Let's see how that turns out. Okay. You can make X's. Your kids could have fun with that to also like what kind of little design do you want to do on top. But I like this smiley face. Looks like a flower. Okay, now I'm gonna make an egg wash. Okay, I thought I had a basting brush, so I just got an egg mixed with a little bit of water. I'm gonna just try spooning this on. Cannot find the brush. Thought I had one. And you could also spritz this with oil, especially if you're making this vegan without any eggs. You use your egg substitute on this also. Alrighty, I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. I'm going to test this for about 15 minutes. I'll let you know how long it takes to bake. Everything inside is fully cooked. We're just getting this dough cooked up. Make sure that's all sealed good. Alrighty, see you on the flip side. Just a leftover egg wash. Let's try not wasting it. I'm going to use my leftover flour. I could throw that back in the flour pot, but still. A little bit of salt. All right, here's how they turned out. I had them in the oven for about 22 minutes. I wanted them to get a little bit crispy on top, on the edges. My smiley face is drooling. It's so good. I think that's actually kind of funny. Okay. So yeah. So here's what it looks like while I'm eating it. Turned out really good. The dough is actually a cross between a little bit like pasta and pie dough. I do like that it's really hearty. It's easy to hold and isn't falling apart. The filling is delicious. Overall, I'd say it's a success. Okay, for the second chicken pot pie recipe, chickenless chicken pot pie recipe, I'm getting a little creative, and I'm gonna make the base be this butternut squash. Now it's one of the smaller ones. You could do one a little bigger, but I would definitely buy one of the smaller ones. I'm gonna cut it in half. We're gonna roast it first, and this will be the base. And I'm gonna also get a little creative with the less than traditional vegetables to go inside also. But we'll get to chopping those up in a second. First, I want to show off one of my Christmas presents. It's really this cool cutting board from Etsy that my niece got me. And I will put a link to the shop down below where she got it because it's personalized. It says at Hairy Tail Farm. I'm all excited. It's so cute. And so it's really nice wooded chopping. And then this is so you can move stuff along and it's magnetized so it's easy to clean. So I'll go ahead and get chopping. I've got my oven preheating to 400 degrees. I'm going to be roasting butternut squash. I'm going to be putting a little bit of cauliflower in there and roast that with it. That'll be the other vegetable that's added. I'm going to chop it up really small. And I'm wrapping these two up. I've got an onion and a head of garlic. And I'm going to roast those two because the butternut squash and the onion and garlic will take a while to roast in the oven. I'll take the cauliflower out when it's done. Probably around 20 minutes. This will go in there also. So we're gonna have a nice roasted flavor to this chicken pot pie. Got my potatoes peeled. We're going to be using some of the potatoes inside the pot pie, and then we're going to be making my biscuit topping. It was a few videos ago using potato biscuits. Let's get the cauliflower ready. And this is just part of a head of cauliflower. And I want this to be kind of smaller bits. Just sort of a rough chop. I'm not caring about it looking like florets, because it's going to be all mixed together in the veggie mix. Got a lot on there. And the same seasonings. Got some olive oil, garlic salt, Italian seasoning, and pepper. Alrighty. And we're good to go. Again, I'll take this out. I'll let you know approximately about 20 minutes. We'll see how long this takes. I want it nice and soft. Same with this. I'm cutting these up in a smaller dice. They cook faster that way, plus inside the filling, we don't want the pieces too big. So we get lots of different veggies in there. Okay, and here's the squash out of the oven. Nice and roasty and yummy looking. And the cauliflower. Cauliflower was in for about 25 minutes. Add the squash in for about 50 minutes. Okay, so I left the onion and garlic in the oven for about a little over an hour and a half roasting, and the onion just squeezed right out of the skin. And I'm going to do the same thing with the garlic. I'm going to get that in the pan. Try to chop this up a little bit. Squeeze out some of this garlic. This is a small bulb. Some of that garlic in there. And then do about that much onion. This is just for 2 people. A little more maybe. Get that cooking on the stove for a bit. Smells good. Now I've already mostly thawed some of the Morningstar chicken strips. I'm not even using the rest of this bag. So that stretches your dollars even further, because this will be a good amount. I'm going to just chop this up some. Bite-sized pieces like last time. Okay, and so for this one I'm going to add some spinach as well. I don't need all the stems. I'm weird about stems sometimes. But even they don't go to waste. Some of the chickens, one in particular, sorry, I know this is Gertie's night, but it cracks me up that Mabel loves the stems. She picks those out first. So I will throw these back in a bag and give them to the chickens. We're going to have spinach. Got the roasted cauliflower. And I got some more peas and carrots. This was the end of the bag. They're thawed. I might not use this whole amount because it might be a lot. Let's see how it looks. And then I also have some potatoes. And half of this is going to go into the potato biscuits. Okay, this is all heated up nice and hot. So I'm going to add my slurry now. It was about a tablespoon of cornstarch. And, maybe 2 tablespoons of water. Pour that in there. This needs to be cold, and the broth part needs to be hot for a slurry to work. They need to be the opposite. So we will give this a couple minutes to thicken up a bit. And we'll move on to making the biscuit topping. Alrighty, so I left the other half of the potatoes I cooked in this pan and just tried to mash them up pretty good. They don't need to be super smooth. I like to see the little bits of potato in the potato biscuits. But if you've got them cooked down super good and they get really smooth, that's no problem either. So we're just going to mix our dough in this pan because this has been cooling for a while. Sorry, I was beating that. This has been cooling for a while. So we don't want this to be too hot when we make the biscuits. It's just slightly warm. And so it's about a cup of potatoes. Add a cup of flour. And then we need a couple teaspoons of baking powder. And I salted the potatoes, so sometimes I add a little bit of salt to this. Maybe you might add a tad. We don't need to add too much. Yeah, just a tad bit of salt. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, so get that kind of in nice good crumbles. And it should be about a half a cup of milk. Can always add more if we need. It's a little wet. I might actually need a little bit more flour. Well, I'm adding the flour my board. See how this does. It's going to be a sticky dough, but we can't have it too sticky. Okay, then we're going to just lightly knead this for a minute or so to get it to come together. Try and make it so I can cut this boat shaped. Scoochie, scoochie. Okay, so we're going to scoop some of this out so we have plenty of room for a filling and there's not too much squash. Like I said before, I'm going to save some of this for a rice dish for lunches probably, or a side for dinner. And we'll spoon some of our filling in. And it's going to be heaping. We want it to kind of be overflowing a bit. Actually really affordable how far it stretches because the vegetables are all inexpensive. The most expensive part is the chicken strips, and I haven't even used the whole bag. So I got the 5 hearty lunches out of the pockets I made, and these 2 for dinner, these 2 squash boats, pot pies, and I have this much left over. It's going to probably turn into a soup. That's going to be yummy. And I still have more of these left. So I'm going to try and calculate a price. I'll throw that up on the screen. But very affordable. And now we'll add our biscuit topping. And I've got my oven still at 400 degrees. And we only need to cook this until we get the biscuits cooked. The biscuit topping on there. Because everything else is cooked. So I'm guessing about 15 minutes. Okay, here we are. This is how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty good. There's the other one. I put on a pretty plate. Biscuit's nice and crispy on top, but soft inside. You can see the side with the filling. Give you an idea what it looks like inside. Oh yeah. Very yummy. Very delicious. The biscuit is so moist. Flavorful filling. The light sweetness of the butternut squash. Very good. And then I had an idea, because I had the leftovers. And I had extra dough for the topping. Like, I just add more of the soy milk to the pot. And I made chicken and dumplings. So this is at least 2 or 3 or 4. I'm not sure how much that's going to be. Extra meals. I am so impressed with how this all turned out. A lot of fun food for this week. And really stretching a buck. And it was all vegetarian or vegan. So for the days you're trying to eat a little less meat, I still eat meat, but I try to eat less. And this is very comforting. Like right now, I think it's 10 degrees outside. And we're going with that bad weather storm. The Arctic freeze coming down from the north all week long. Extra snow, extra cold. This is warm. This is comforting. Perfect. It hits the spot. I hope you guys give it a try. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching with us, everybody. I hope you like these recipes. I might give them a try. Chaos in the coop. It is so cold outside, so we're filming this indoors, the coop at night. Say thank you, Gertie. Say watch with us again soon. Our second episode will be coming out. We're going to have about 5 episodes of these Chickenless Chicken dinners. Hope you enjoy. Thanks. And please like and subscribe.